Good afternoon everyone. I just thought I'd show you a video that's a little bit different to what I normally do. This afternoon I'm going to set up for a little bit of charcoal making, and what I'm going to do is just make a little bit of lump charcoal for my barbecue. Now I have access to a lot of timber, and here I have a pile of timber that's ready to be turned into charcoal. The timber I'm actually using is Australian black wattle. It's a hardwood, it's nice and dry, and that makes very nice charcoal. Easily accessible, and it really does work quite well on the barbecue. Anyway, I'll show you that process in a minute, but let's have a look at this burn barrel and the way the whole process works. If we have a look from the top down, that's just an old piece of chimney flue, and that comes off. Well, hopefully I can get it off. If I put my knee on here, that pulls off. I could have that chimney a little bit taller than that, but that's all I have. And you can see how I've cut the lid so that the chimney basically just sits in place and presses down. It doesn't have to be a good seal. A little bit of extra air getting in doesn't hurt. And the lid is made from the bottom of another barrel, and all I did was cut it off at about 30 millimeters depth, put a series of little slits all the way around the outside. I bent those little lugs and shaped them so that the whole thing was able to sit on top of my burn barrel. Now, underneath the lid I have a series of holes. These holes are for secondary combustion, but I'll speak to you about that a little bit later on. The main area where the air comes in for this burn is at the bottom. I've got 50 millimeter holes, about a dozen of these, towards the bottom of the burn barrel. But anyway, if I take this lid off, let's have a look inside. Put that over here out of the way. So inside my burn barrel, I'm going to eventually fill that area with timber and light a fire. The charcoal will actually sit and be formed inside that old 60 litre oil drum. It's been burnt out, so it's quite clean. There are no holes drilled in it. If I turn this over and have a look inside, there's the barrel. I've just put a couple of bolts there, and I'll show you what that's for in a minute. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill that barrel with the black wattle that I have here. I will turn the barrel upside down inside my burn chamber, and what will happen is as the burn barrel gets hot, it will start heating this retort, and eventually gases will be given off that will be combustible, and they will leak out through the base. They will burn in this area here and help the whole process to continue. Now, as that process occurs, I have found that this area here towards the top gets the most heat. The area down at the bottom here doesn't get as much heat, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the smaller sticks of black wattle down towards the bottom, and those ones there range from about 1 to 2 inches. The larger ones are up closer to 3 inches in diameter. I don't normally go much larger than what I have there. So anyway, these holes provide for a secondary burn later on. They let a little bit more oxygen in. As the combustible gases come up to the top and come through the chimney, more oxygen is picked up, so we get a secondary burn up through the chimney, so we get a very clean burn up in this area here. Up in the bucket here, I have some other offcuts of material that I'm going to put around the retort, and you can see I've got long strips of material. I try to keep those as large as I possibly can to slow the burn down, to keep the burn going for about 3 hours if I can. And of course there's some old offcuts of pine that I'm going to use just to get a fire going on top, and the fire starts on top rather than on the bottom. So anyway, what I'm going to do is stack this barrel up. I'll take a couple of shots as I go, and then I'll show you how the whole system is loaded, ready for the burn later this afternoon. Well, I've now got the retort full, And as you can see, I've got the smallest size timber on top here because that section there is going to receive the least amount of heat. I've got my bit of mesh in place to hold everything nice and steady while I invert the retort. So I need to put it into this large barrel. Now it's going to be a little bit difficult to do with the camera, so I think you can see what I need to do. So I'll come back in a minute when it's all in place. Okay, the retort's in place, and it's now just a matter of stacking timber all the way around the outside here, ready for the burn. And for that I use my long pieces. And again, I like to use hardwood if possible, in conjunction with a little bit of pine. And I just start stacking those all the way around. Now I'll come back in a couple of minutes when I've got all of that done and the fire set up here in the centre. Well, the burn barrel is now loaded, as you can see, all the way around the outside. I've got some kindling and a fire lighter in the middle, and what I'll do is I'll get that fire started. I'll top the fire up with all of this pine, which will burn hot, and when that fire is running really well, I'll get the lid back onto this burn barrel, and then the job's done. I can walk away and leave it. It's only taken about 4 or 5 minutes, and the fire's running really nicely. Now when it gets to about this stage, I normally pop the chimney on and let it do its thing. The fire will start drawing down towards the inlet holes, the primary air holes, and that should end up giving us a nice clean burn. So I'll just pop that lid on and I'll show you what it looks like. The lid's in place, and as you can see, there's a little bit of smoke initially. Just as everything heats up, there's still a little bit of condensation coming out of the timber. The burn out the top, yeah, it's a little bit smoky at the moment, but that will settle down shortly. And what will happen in about an hour's time, we'll start to see coals down the bottom, and those coals, when they warm up enough and the flame gets down towards the bottom of the retort, the pyrolysis will start to take place, and you'll find that everything will be giving a nice clean burn as the charcoal is being produced. So I'll come back in about an hour's time and I'll show you how clean the burn is then. Well, as you can see, I'm getting a nice clean burn now, and if you listen very carefully you can hear a little bit of the gas being released from the retort, and that's fueling part of the fire. So things are going along very nicely, so I'll pop down and have another look, probably just about on dark, and see how it's going. Just one final look at the fire before I walk away and leave it for the night. It's a bit hard to see, but there is still a flame coming out the top, and you can see the fire still burning. If you look through the secondary air vents, you can see there is still plenty of flame, and if we look down to the bottom, there's a little bit of activity. You may be able to see some smoke coming out. That smoke is actually catching fire as it gets up a little bit higher. So everything's burning nicely. I'll come back and make one more check later tonight when everything's just about burnt down, and then I'll check it sometime tomorrow when everything's nice and cool and recover the charcoal. A couple of hours in and it's still burning quite well. You can see the inlet ports on the burn barrel are glowing red. There's a bit of activity obviously at the bottom of the retort, and I would say this is probably 3/4 done by now. There's just a little bit to go, and that will slowly burn its way out, and I'll be back tomorrow to have a close look at what's going on. It's fairly early the next morning, and if we just feel the burn barrel, it's really cool. That's great. Let's lift the lid off and we'll have a look inside. Put this over here out of the way, and we'll have a look at the retort. As you would expect, there's a little bit of ash on top of the retort, but in the burn barrel you may not be able to see it overly clearly, but everything has burnt out. Now all I need to do is tip the burn barrel on its side and pull the retort out, and then we can have a look at the charcoal. Well, here's the upturned retort. Let's have a look inside. You can see there's a little bit of creosote just on the mesh. I'll pull that out of the way. That will burn away next time I use the retort. And let's have a look at this charcoal. It's light, it's glassy, and looking at this, it looks as though we have 100% success rate. Beautiful charcoal for the barbecue. So the slow burn really does give good results. I've ended up with about probably 2/3 of what I put into the retort, so the recovery rate is reasonable. There's a lot of fine charcoal in here as well, the small pieces, bits of bark, which are no good on the barbecue in that form. So what I will do is I will crush that down and I will make some barbecue briquettes, the charcoal briquettes. Now that's going to be my next video clip, so if you're interested in that, I have a simple technique for converting that charcoal. It's a good wet weather job when there's nothing else on the go outside. So if you're interested, stay tuned. But until next time, guys, it's cheers for now.